Hi! So I'm a pretty good competitive programmer with basically zero interview experience, and today we're going to be doing
Google's hardest coding interview questions.
hardest meaning the lowest solve rate because I don't know of a better way to measure hardest. And the goal is to find out, how good is competitive programming really? Is it enough to dominate even some of the hardest questions that Google has to offer? Or will these questions be enough to stump me? And what can we learn from these questions? What's the common factor between these that makes them have such a low solve rate? And how can we avoid doing so badly in, for example, an interview? Find out the answers to all of these questions right now. But first, the format. I'll do 5 questions, picked from the list of lowest solve rate. I did find a list of over 800 Google questions on LeetCode, so I'm not leaking any private information, it's already out there. And I wrote a quick script to sort it by solve rate and got a huge output file with the sorted questions. Everything will be in the description if you want to keep track of that. And there are 2 things to note. First, even though there are easy and medium questions high up on the list, the goal is to find the hardest questions, so I'll only be doing the hard difficulty ones. And second, I won't repeat questions that I already did. As it turns out, I already did strong password checker, so that'll be skipped. If you want the exact list that I'm doing, it'll also be in the description, though that's the only one I ended up skipping. I also did a bonus medium one for the end, so you can check that out if you want. And as for the questions, we'll just do each one, and I'll show the whole process, though I'll cut out the parts where I'm just staring at a wall and saying nothing so the video isn't like 2 hours long. And at the end of each one, I'll do a recap of how the question went in terms of time taken, and other interview-specific stuff like other more efficient solutions that I may have missed, as well as going over like failed submissions and mistakes. There are timestamps in the description, so you can jump around to these if you want. And one more thing, feel free to try each question yourself, but I'm not going to go over my own solutions here because it's not really relevant to the point of the video. But if this video gets me over 2,500 new subscribers, then I'll post a separate video that goes over my solutions to all of these questions as a bonus. So hit that button. That is all. Let's start. Alright, here we have Google's second hardest because I already did the first hardest with a 15.3% success rate and apparently a bad like ratio too. So here we go. A valid number can be split up into these components: a decimal number or an integer, an e followed by an integer. Decimal number can be dot, yeah. An integer, yeah, okay. So one or more digits followed by a dot. Yeah, okay, sure. Okay. So what we need to do is test a lot of things. We have a lot of things to test. Yeah, we do. Okay, so first thing is, we'll just split it up into 3 components. The part before the dot, the part after the dot, and then the part after the e. So, bool dot is equal to false, e is equal to false. String before dot. After e is equal to that. Okay, now for each character. So if c is equal to a dot, then we say dot is equal to true. So let's see. If e return false, else if c is equal to e or c is equal to after e is equal to true. No, e is equal to true. Otherwise we add it to the appropriate thing. So if if e, then add it to e. Else if dot, after dot plus equals c. Else before dot plus equals c. Okay, so now we do some checks. First of all, let's just look at all the rules. Okay, so decimal number or an integer. So decimal number can be 1 or more digits followed by a dot. Okay, so if before dot, if both are empty, return false. So actually, let's just break it into groups. So if dot, and then we have if e. This is an else. This does not need an else because this is optional. So if both things are empty, return false. before int I equals 0, I is less than before dot size I plus plus. If it's not between 0 and 9, if e or dot, if e, yeah, okay. So we should not have a second dot, we shouldn't have a second e anywhere. We gotta test so much stuff. There's so much stuff we have to test. So if this is not an integer, then what we need to do is if I is greater than 0 and before dot is not, no, if I is greater than 0 and before dot, if this character is not equal to a plus, no, this is an or. Wait, is it? No. Yeah. If I is greater than 0, because that way, no matter what, nothing's valid. Or before dot I is not equal to plus. Otherwise for this or, it's equal to 0. Before dot I is not equal to minus, right? Just this part is confusing me. So if I is greater than 0, meaning that there's no way to have a plus, or I is equal to 0, and it's neither of these things, then return false. We do the same thing for after dot. So we ensure that, oh, there's so many things to test. Actually, let's just do this right now. If before dot length, let's just get rid of this because this is going to be annoying. If before dot length is greater than 0 and before dot 0 is equal to a plus, or before dot 0 is equal to a minus. So if either of these things, then we can before dot, I forget how this works. Substring. This is, wait, so, okay. So pause is, if it's one argument, then it's the start. Okay. So before dot subster 1. Let's just test this. I just want to get rid of the first character. Okay, so for each thing, now it should only be numbers. And we do this here now. So this should work. Else, otherwise we do something similar. This should be it, right? We're just checking if it's all digits. And there's nothing else to check. So otherwise we have an integer. So we do the same thing here, except this time there's no after dot. So if before dot is equal to null, return false. And now we do the same checks. And then here, we do the same thing, but for after e. We need to make sure that the thing after the e is an integer. So if after e is equal to, is equal to the string length, it returns an empty string. Yeah. After e is equal to that, return false. Okay. If, now we do the same thing here. It's basically just copy pasted. We're just checking if it's an integer. And if all this is true, then return true. So it should pass 0 for sure. but there are so many things to test. So we're going to make like a million test cases. Okay, so minus, plus, minus, plus e plus, plus dot plus e plus, plus 9 dot plus 9, plus 9.9, 9.9 plus 9.9. So we can just test like every possible combination of these rules. So 9 plus 9e plus 9 plus plus 9 plus plus 9e plus 9e plus plus 9 e9 plus e9 9e plus. Let's run on all of these. These should all work. Okay, let's see. What else would I do? So we tested just dot. Yeah. 1e 9.9 should not be an integer. It should be an integer. A 1a9 1e9 1e plus a9 1 plus 1 1 dot plus 1. I think I already tested that. Whatever. Okay. Alright. So I have not generated these formally. Like probably the best way to do this would be to go through all of these possibilities and then go through all of these possibilities and then go through all of these possibilities. I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to try it. And we will see. Because I tested a lot of cases. 0.1. Really? Why does that fail? Oh yeah, I should test multiple dots. 1.1.1, 1e 1.1, 1e 1e1. Why 0.1? What's happening there? That's like so simple too. Yeah, you get wrong answer. So if 0, this is working properly. Yep. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Why 0.1? Oh, shoot. That is a dumb bug. That is a very dumb bug. Let's see if I did that anywhere else. This is before dot, before dot, before dot. This is after e, after e, after e. Okay, that is so dumb. That is so dumb. Nice. Okay. That was, oh my god. Of all the things to get wrong. Like I got everything else right, but a freaking copy paste error. Okay. Whatever. Okay, admittedly, my process of attacking this question was not as organized as it could have been. I think my coding approach was fine, just going through the rules and making sure everything was checked, but my tests, the test cases I tried, were just thinking of random exceptions that could happen and trying them. Probably a more organized way of testing would be to go through each rule and each exception to the rules and combining tests for all those exceptions and possibilities together. And the lazier way of accomplishing that would be to try all possible strings of length like 10 or something, though I don't know how you would generate those answers. Maybe you'd like cross-check with someone else's code or something. But yeah, after making like 20 tests, I failed one of the simplest tests possible, and that's because I made a very dumb copy-paste error, where I was iterating through the characters of after dot, but checking the characters of before dot. I'm still kind of mad about that, but everything else was smooth and honestly better than I expected. But I can see why this has such a low accept rate. There are a lot of possible errors that someone can make, and that could be an easy trap to fall into. But that's all. Let's get into the next question. Okay, here we have Google's third hardest question with a 16.9 success rate. Nice. Let's get started. Max points on a line. Given an array of points, where a point represents a point on the xy plane, return the maximum number of points that lie on the same straight line. Okay. Okay. Sure. So that's fun. Points.length up to 300. Points I.length is equal to 2. Okay. So, integers. Let's use integers and avoid doubles. But the way to use integers is to have a fraction class. So, private class fraction where we do some stuff. So hardest thing to check is equality. C over D is equal to A times D is equal to B times C, and that should account for everything. All the points unique. So as long as, so there is no 0 over 0, but there is, okay, this should be fine. So what we need to do is, somehow we need to make this smooth. I want to I want to make a map with a custom comparator, because, so, okay, public int, I'm not doing getters and setters, screw anyone who wants me to do that. Int AB, now, oh wait, this is indented here. Int AB, that's it, right? We just need that. So actually, this doesn't need to be a class. It can just be pairs. Yeah, let's just do pairs. It's probably easier. So map. Okay, so the gist is we're going to be 2 points are on the same line if, or like 3 points are on the same line if like the fraction of the distance between them, like slope. If they have the same slope, then it'll work. So we're grouping by slope. That's what we're gonna do. So so you have a map of pair int int. How's this work? Pair int int. So we do need a private thing. Struct. Actually, let's define this outside. Screw convention, struct, comp, bool operator, const pair int A, B, do some stuff, return A dot first times B dot second is less than B dot first times A dot second. So that's what we're doing. Comp, no, map key value. So this should be an int. Map pair int comp. Yeah, so that way we can avoid everything that has to do with reducing fractions, because that is going to be such a pain with zeros, like vertical, horizontal lines. So we can just have this custom comparator. Life will be nice. And since fractions are fairly well defined, I think. Actually, would this have problems with zeros? I think not. It might. Anything divided by 0, 1 divided by 0, will be less than, if this is divided by 0, then everything will be less than it. And will it also be less than everything? No. Yes, it will. It will be less than everything. Will it? Will this be a mess with vertical lines? I feel like it will. This is a pain, because vertical lines exist. And like, doing that makes things hard. How do we handle vertical lines? Because it might be like equal to everything. No, it'll be, okay, so if D is 0, let's say C is positive, then this will be wiped to 0. This will be whatever B is. We can have exceptions. So if A dot, okay, wait, we want like 1 over 0 to be unique. So maybe 1 over 0 is infinity, or rather x over 0 is infinity. So handling zeros is a pain, but if, say, B dot A dot second is equal to 0 and B dot second is equal to 0, then return what? If they're both 0, then they're equal, so false. If a.second is equal to 0, then it should never be less than. Because, yeah, so if a over b is 0 and b is 0, then this is going to be 0, no matter what. So this is going to depend on a times d. If b.second is equal to 0, then everything should be less than infinity, so return true. So, okay, I gotta test vertical lines. But other than that, we should be good. For int I equals 0, I is less than points dot size, I plus plus, for int j equals I plus 1, j is less than points dot size, j plus plus, pair int x equal 2, points j 0 minus points I 0, points j 1 minus points I 1, plus plus mx. Yep, best x.second, return best. This will be wrong, but it's fine, I just want to test. Should get, not that. It should get 3 and 6, 5. Why 5? 1, why'd you be 5? So yeah, x dot first. Okay, why would you be 5? That concerns me. So 1, 1, 3. Yeah, negative 1, 1, 5. 1, negative 1. Why? One, negative 1. Why would that be different? Oh, yeah, okay. So, wait, inverting the points will negate both. Yeah, it will. Because like this minus this is like, this is 1, negative 1, and this is negative 1, 1, or some, whatever. Okay, so why is this happening? Because it should not be happening. Because equality is neither is less than the other. So negative 1, 1, 1, negative 1. So negative 1s will be multiplied, 1s will be multiplied. And if we swap that, then, yeah, cross multiplying, it'll always be 1 and 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Am I doing this wrong? What if I'm doing this wrong? Need to do some more research. How does this work? Okay, that's not helpful. Let's see if this changes anything. This should be a thing, right? Yeah, okay, so that breaks everything. So we have 1, so we have 2, negative 2, we have negative 1, 1. And for whatever reason, those are not being equal. I need to see the code of how map is implemented to see how this works. Because, I mean, equality should be A is not less than B, and B is not less than A, right? I don't know how else, because map only has less than to work with, right? And that's what this is doing. This is passing in a less than. So why is this not working? This isn't even the question that's giving me trouble. It's literally C++. I don't know C++ apparently, because this should work. Points j0, points I0. Like, some of them are being grouped together and some of them are not. I need to... No. This doesn't like... No, I don't know what... Why am I reading this? Check of a given key. No. Stop. Not helpful. -1, 1, -1, 1. -2, 2. Why are they grouping up differently? Wait, so 2, -2. Let's see what's grouping together. Vx dot push back x. Let's get rid of all this. Actually, we can copy it. So vector parent int for parent int y x dot second, cout y dot first, y dot second, cout new line. Run that, see what's happening. Yeah, this is all C++ knowledge. I'm going to die on this hill if I must. This is V. Because this is infinitely better than messing with reducing fractions. I just have to figure out how this works. So 2, -2, 1, -1, -1, 1. -1, 1. These are literally equal. Literally equal. Why are you not grouping together? Cout x dot first. Print the representative element. I mean, it should be the first one in each, I guess. X dot first dot first dot first. Working with pairs can be cumbersome sometimes. I can admit that for sure. Okay, dash was a really bad idea. Yeah, so 2, -2. Okay, yeah, it is the first. So 2, -2 and -1, 1 are not being determined as equal. Is this weird? So 2, -2. So like comparing 2 over -2 to -1 over 1. 2 times 1 is less than -2 times -1. So false. And -1 over 1 is less than -2 over -2. -1 times -2 is less than 1, 2 times 1. Also false. It's the same thing. What am I missing here? I don't understand. Like what is map doing that I'm not understanding? Because it should, like from what I know, these should be equal. But it's not. But why is it not? So, external sorting criteria. Left, right. But suppose we want the element in M map to restore it in reverse lexicographical order. And how do we do it? Obviously we cannot change. Okay, but that's exactly what we're doing. I really need to just look at the map code for this. We can compare map, and that's not helpful. There's nothing that has what I need, is there? Am I really just gonna have to reduce fractions? Because that's what I didn't want to do the whole time. A dot first times b dot second. Let's just try writing a custom class. Int a b. Bool operator less than frac other. dot b is less than other dot a times this b. Right? So map frac. Will this actually work? Not sure. Frac. Why did I do that? Also, why is it compiler for a warning? Yeah, sure. Alright, what else am I doing wrong? Frac, I don't need comp. Why? Okay. Is that what I need to do? Okay, that looks right, but it's not. It's just wrong. Stop first dot A. It should not be that. It should be 6, but it's not. So this isn't working either. It's -114, 2, -2, 2. So I'm really just like, I'm just not getting this, am I? I mean, we could do this in n cubed. It would work, but it would suck. I don't know what to search. I have a lot to learn, evidently. Screw it, I'm just gonna do n cubed. I'll figure this out later for myself. Okay, so vector pair frac int b for pair frac x b if y dot first if z dot a times x dot b is equal to z dot b times x dot a, then found is equal to true, plus y dot second, break, if not found, v dot push back, x1. For auto yv best equal to max best y dot second. Now you should be 6. Yeah, okay. Perfect. So now ants equal to 0 while ants times ants minus 1 over 2 is not equal to best plus ants. Okay, we got test vertical lines now. So 1 1 1 2 1 3 2 2 should be 3 as expected. Okay, I gotta figure this out myself. I don't understand what's going on here. Output 0, expected 1. It's just an edge case. Yeah, because both 0 and 1 satisfy that. Okay. Good catch. Neat code. It might fail in vertical stuff. What? Points up to 300. Is this vertical stuff? 0 0 4 7 8. Nope, none of these are on the same line. So that's fun. What is happening? So this should be 2. Enter should be 2. But here, so there'd be 2 things on the same line. No, it'd be 1. Wait, what? Also, best is 11. How? Best is 11. 7 8 8 9 5 6 3 4. So this is 5. So it should be 10. Oh, I get it. Okay. Yep. There has to be a third thing, which is... Yeah, okay. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, there has to be a third thing. C. And z dot c is equal to x dot c. And y. So we find the x-intercept, which is if, let's see. So if the line is horizontal, there is no x-intercept. So we do the y-intercept. So if these are equal, x-int is equal to the y-coordinate. Wait, if the y-coordinates are equal, then it's horizontal. I've been talking about vertical this whole time. If the y-coordinates are equal, then it's horizontal. So x-int equals points j1, because we're doing the y-intercept. Otherwise, this is the x-intercept. So what we need to do is... Oh, this is a fraction too. Oh, that's why this is annoying. Yeah, okay. Okay. We can just like call this like a double frac. Don't need this anymore. X-int equals that over 1. Yeah, this is also a fraction. So it's the slope. So it's y over x, slope times the x coordinate plus the y coordinate. So the slope is dy, let's math this out, dy dx plus x times x plus y, so x times dy plus y times dx over dx. That should make sense, right? Yeah, y times dx over dx, dy times x. Okay, so x-int dot first is equal to, so this is points 1, it doesn't matter which points, so points I0 times dy, so this thing. Honestly, I don't do geometry much, and this is very telling. This points I1 times this, x-int dot second is equal to dx. So this x-int dot first, x-int dot second. Okay. No, this is wrong. Z dot c times x dot d is equal to z dot d times x dot c. Yep. Okay. 2. 2 on this. Somehow. See what's happening here. So the y-intercept should all be 0. 2, 1 should all be 0. This is a minus. This is a minus, isn't it? It's a negative slope. Yeah, it's negative slope. Negative x times dy. Okay, so negative. Pretty sure. Okay, yeah. So it should all be 0 now. Okay. Alright, let's get over our debugs. Okay, this would all make sense. Let's try it again. Okay, so this could have been smoother. Oh boy. Am I handling... What the hell is happening here? Let's just look at this. 111. Oh boy. Okay, so let's just see, like, vertical lines, or horizontal lines are the problem. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1. Right? Because that's the only issue I could see, horizontal lines. But, like, probably not this. Yeah, that would work. Of course it would. I really don't understand why this doesn't work. So, if horizontal, let's see what happened here. So we're doing the y-intercepts. This should all be 1, even though it's like not actually that. Or yeah, so it'll be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah. So negative x times dy. Let's make sure that formula's right. It's not helpful. You just give me the equation. Why is it a video? I don't want a video. Please, something, please. Okay, so the y-intercept is setting x equals 0. No. We want the y-intercept. So x equals 0. Y equals b. That doesn't... What? Very confused. Because it's not y equals b. Alright, we have to get it into mx plus b form. Okay. Have I just done this wrong? Because it's dy dx, and then we're x, like, let's say we're like 5 to the right. Then, if we're 5 to the right, then we go the opposite of dy 5 times. So if the slope's like 2 over 1, then we go down by 10. Why is it y times dx again? Oh, because we need a fraction. So if we have like y equals 2x plus 5, right? Then, or let's say like 1/2 x plus 5. And the point we have is like x equals 5. It's really confusing. I'm really confused by this. The point we have is 2x plus 5, or like 1/2 something. Slope is 1/2. Then 1/2. So dy is 1. Negative x is 5. Negative 5 plus dx, 2 times y, 10 over 2. Yeah, that would work. Okay. Sure. Why are we multiplying? It's just a fraction. It's just a fraction. So what's up? What's going wrong with this? So the problem is no, this is the x-intercept. Wait, oh my god. I've been solving for the y-intercept, but I've been calling it the x-intercept. Wait, yeah. I've been solving for the y-intercept, but I'm calling it the x-intercept. So this should be the y-intercept. And there is no y-intercept if it's a vertical line. So I think I'm just confused. I think that's what's going on here. I'm just confused. I'm very, very confused. Okay, it works now. Will it work forever? I guess we'll see. It shouldn't TLE, but yeah, I don't know. It does TLE. Why? It's up to is the time limit really that bad? Are you serious? I don't know how many that is. Is the time limit really that bad? Because my god. Like what? Lika, why do you not say the time limit? Like why do you not do this? This is so annoying. I don't know what I'm working with. I don't know what I have to optimize to because you're not saying what the time limit is. It just doesn't say the time limit. So I don't need this anymore. Leak code is fun. Leak code is fun. It's like the issue really is, let's just see what happens when we add this. So the issue is like when all the points are different. Invalid test case. Didn't add everything. What do you mean? What do you mean invalid test case? Okay. So that should TLE, but like, what is the time limit? Just get rid of a few points. See how close we are. Because it's n cubed. N is 300. It's like not that good of an n cubed. Still. Let's get rid of a lot of points. Maybe there's like something weird that's happening. Still. Let's get rid of like a lot of points. I guess we're pretty far off then. Great. Okay. See, Codeforces is nice. It tells you like if the time limit is like 1 second or 2 seconds or n seconds. Are we really just gonna have to do fraction reduction here? I don't understand what's wrong with the map thing. If I could just figure that out. If that worked out, then everything would be fine. This would all be fine. We wouldn't have to do n cubed. Everything would be perfect, but it's just not working. I don't understand how this map works. So we have two fractions that we want to compare somehow. How do we compare two fractions? Quickly, I guess. Like, we can do fraction reduction, but it would be such a pain. It really would. I guess we can do it. I mean, like, okay. Let's just do reduction and get a bunch of wrong answers. So first of all, first things first, make a positive. So if a is greater, less than 0, a is equal to negative a, b is equal to negative b. Avoid reduce. So if n is greater than less than 0, n is equal to negative n, d is equal to negative d. If d is equal to 0, then what we need to do is, we don't care about d is equal to 0, then n is equal to 1. Because now we don't care. If n is equal to 0, d is equal to 1, return. We will never have 0 over 0, so that's not an issue. Alright, so like 5 over 0 and 4 over 0 are equivalent. They don't matter. And 0 over 5, 0 over 4 is also equivalent. So now we have the numbers normalized, so int g is equal to gcd abs n abs d. G is greater than 0. G, D is divided by G. That should be it. I don't know. It's like a pain. Map frac int v. So plus, or call it, yeah, vx. That should not work. Why? If a is not equal to other dot a, turn is less than other dot a. Don't really care about this. Doesn't matter. All we need is equality. Yeah, okay. Let's copy this. Make sure it works. I guess I did this correctly. I don't know. Okay, I was being stubborn and avoiding fraction reduction because I thought it would be a pain, but apparently it's not that big of a pain. Okay, this one sucked, and it was mostly because I was being stubborn and didn't want to implement reducing fractions because I had some PTSD from the past about it being annoying. But it turns out I did it on the first try anyway, so I guess it's fine. Quick breakdown of the errors. The first was because if the number of points was 1, both 0 and 1 were considered a valid answer by my program, but 0 is wrong, so I needed to start with 1. The second one was because I was considering only slopes, and so 2 pairs of points far away from each other with the same slope would be considered equal. The third was a math error where I was confused about which intercept I was solving for. Part of my math was for the x-intercept and part of it was for the y-intercept, where it should have all been for the y-intercept. And the fourth was because my program was n cubed, and apparently that's too slow. Kinda annoying that LeetCode gives me no indication of what would pass and what wouldn't, but whatever I guess. And then after that I finally relented and just wrote fraction reduction and it worked. So hooray I guess. If anyone fluent in C++ knows why the map wasn't considering those elements to be equal, please let me know because I still don't understand it myself. And either my knowledge of how map works is just wrong or I made some mistake that I'm not seeing. I'm assuming that if A is not less than B and B is not less than A, then the elements are considered equal, and fraction comparison should be a strict weak ordering, so I don't get it. And I can definitely see why this has such a low accept rate. There are a lot of things that can go wrong and the sample tests cover very little. But yeah, okay, on to the next question. Okay, here we have Google's fourth hardest question with a 19.7% success rate. So given a string n representing an integer, return the closest integer not including itself, which is a palindrome. If there's a tie, return the smaller one. Okay, closest absolute difference. 10 to the 18th minus 1. Okay, so mirror it, and immediately considering mirroring it. So there should be 3 things to consider. We mirror it. Too long. Yeah. So we mirror it and then try that. We add 1 to the half and then try that. And then we subtract 1 from the half and then try that. I guess that should be sufficient. So if this is a palindrome itself, this can be annoying for, let's try everything. So 1, make sure we test all of those because those are going to be the worst edge cases. String add string n. So int pause is equal to n over 2, n dot length over 2. For odd, that will be 0, 1, 2, yeah, middle. So middle to the left. So bool carry is equal to 1, while n pause, no. For int I equals pause, string equals 0, I minus minus. If ni is equal to 9, ni is equal to 9, ni is equal to 0, else ni plus plus, carry is equal to 0, break. If carry n is equal to n 1 plus n, turn n. Do some random testing. Okay, test that. Should compiler turn 0? Yeah. Should be 99999, 100,000. Yep, 10,009. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. What? Oh. Shoot. Okay. This will be minus 1. For odd, it will be work. For odd, it'll work. For even, it'll work. Okay. Make sure that works again. 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. What exactly? Oh, yeah, I'm returning an int. Okay, that's good. Now we do something else. What? Okay, wrong answer is good. So, actually, I do kind of want this runtime error to happen. Okay, int string subtract string n, so we do the same thing, but in reverse. So int pause is equal to n.length minus 1. If this is even, then this becomes kind of a pain. So if we have like 100,888, it become 99888. Well, okay. That's an exception. So that should be fine, actually. Yeah, okay. So we can do the exact same thing, but in reverse. And if carry return string n.length minus 1, 9. So ni equals 0, ni equals 9, ni minus minus. Do the same thing. So let's test all these. Sub. We also test for even and odd at the same time. 99799, 99899, 9899, 122. That doesn't make sense. What does that mean? Why? What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, it's not. Okay. Okay. If n0 is equal to 0, that's what we need to do. Yep. So it should be 9999999. Perfect. Okay. Now string mirror string n. So if int pause is equal to n.length over 2 minus 1. Yeah. Then for int I equals 0, I is less than or equal to pause, I plus plus, n pause minus n.length minus 1 minus I minus 1 is equal to ni. Turn n. Let's do mirror. Make sure all of these work. 889, 97, 7. Make sure all of this works. 99899, 97979, 7997. Okay, perfect. So now, after all that, we have 3 things. Vector string cans is equal to mirror n, mirror sub n, mirror add n. Int dis is equal to 2e18, and it's equal to -1. For string s cans, if s is not equal to n, make sure that's true, then int d is equal to abs stol n minus stol s. D is less than dist. Dist is equal to d, and it's equal to ants is equal to s. Turn ants. Okay, now we can run our code. And it'll runtime error. Because it should be long. Don't do that. std invalid argument. Why? Oh, is it a toll? Might be. I forget exactly how this works. No matching function. Oh. Wait, what? Long. Are these not optional? It's just not optional. Okay, what are these arguments? Requires single... Oh wait, this is Sthlm now. Very, very confused by this. I don't get it. Invalid argument. No conversion could be performed. 5, 6. I do not understand. Are these going to invalid arguments? No, that works. Okay. What is happening? N, S. What is S? Like, what is going wrong here? 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1. It can't convert 1? Why can it not convert 1? Oh. What's up with that? Oh. If n dot length. No, wait. Oh, it's because it's unsigned. Int. Yep, okay. Now this should work. No, it doesn't. Pause should be -1, right? Pause is -1. -1, -1, -1. So this should not be an issue. So that's fine. Sub n. Oh, shoot. And n dot length is greater than 1. Okay, that makes sense. Now we should get accepted on everything, but we don't. Okay, cool. Put sort begin cans. No, let's just do this by sub n mirror n. Should break ties by smallest. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I trust it. Nice. Only took us a lot of looking up to realize that wasn't even the issue. Cool. Okay, this one was relatively smooth, just implementing a bunch of string operations and managing even odd stuff. Not much to say other than the fact that it took longer than it should have, but I guess that comes down to maybe like sloppiness in a single edge case that was annoying, namely n equals 1 exactly. I think my testing process was pretty good with this one. I tested the edge cases I was expecting for each auxiliary function I used, except for n equals 1, I guess. And it worked out pretty well since I passed with no failed attempts. So I'd say it was worth it to be thorough in testing. And I can kind of see why this has such a low accept rate, especially if people were trying dumb and wrong strategies or just made mistakes with the number processing. But yeah, that's all. On to the next question. Okay, this is Google's 5th hardest question with a 22.1 accept rate, 22.1%. All right. A transformation sequence from word begin word to end word is a sequence of words begin word to sk such that every adjacent pair of words differs by a single letter. Every si is in word list. Sk is equal to end word. Return all the shortest transformation sequences from begin word to end word, or an empty list if no such sequence exists. All the shortest. So begin word dot length equals 5. End word dot, okay, so the sequence is at most 5, which means, yeah, we can do like lazy BFS basically. How bad could this be? Because like hit hot dot dog cog. So 1. Oh wait, this could be bad. Oh yeah, this could be very bad. So we're creating a graph. We can create a graph between the edges in the word list. What's the proof for the bounds on the answer? Because like, what's the proof? I guess the number of edges is small. And therefore any 2 paths would only intersect, I don't know actually. Could 2 paths intersect twice? I think not, because every change has to be productive. So like ABC, ABD, ACD, or ABC, ACC, ACD. I guess that could happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to prove this, but I guess it's fine. So all we really need to do is make sure that we never hit a dead end, so that the bound on the answer will be exactly that. So what we do is we put begin word in word list, because why not? Well, wait, no. It's always... No. It could be much worse, because like we could have ABC to ABD to ACD to like ACE to ADE or something, right? Yeah, could be bad. ACE. Okay. Word list size vector int. For string s word lists if s equal to begin word is equal to true. If not in word list, I'll push back begin word. That's just for convenience. So for int I equals 0, word list dot size I plus plus, for int j equals I plus 1, j is less than word list dot size j plus plus, if int diff is equal to 0, for int k is equal to 0, k is less than word list I dot length. Don't know why that took so long. K plus plus. Diff plus equals word list I k is not equal to word list I j k. If diff is equal to 1, edge I dot push back j, edge j dot push back I. Now then, we do BFS from every node. For each thing, okay, so for int I equals 0, I is less than word list dot size I plus plus, dist I is equal to 0, q int q dot push I, while not q dot empty, int x equals q dot front, q dot pop, so just standard BFS. For int y edge x, if dist y is equal to -1, then dist y is equal to dist x plus 1, q dot push y. Standard, all standard BFS. Now, we do DFS over the transformation sequences. And our complexity is exactly O of answer, so it cannot be better. So DFS, let's just private vector int ants void DFS vector int cur int v cur dot push back v find in vector. Okay. Int end pause equal to find word list dot begin word list dot end word. Need to know what happens if it's not in there. If no element is found, function returns last. If end pause is equal to end word dot word list dot end, return int and pos equal to end it. So if dist int begin pos equal to, let's just do that now so we can be fine. Begin pos, end pos, int end pos. No, that'll be fine. It's equal to -1. Turn empty thing. Otherwise, we'll be good. DFS begin pos, end pos, dist. Int v, int target, vector, vector, int dist. 4 can pass edge as well, I guess. For int y edge v if dist begin pos dist s y plus dist yt is equal to dist st, because otherwise we're going an inefficient path and therefore it's not good. DFS what? DFS from, so new node is y, st dist edge. If v is equal to t, and stop push back cur dot pop back. Note that from here we will never enter another node if we're already at t, so this doesn't matter. Ants dot clear, cur dot clear, just to be safe. Turn ants. Okay, no way this works first try, but it's worth a shot. Compiler. Oh wait, wrong thing. End it minus word list dot begin. I honestly don't use this syntax much, so mistakes will be made. Yeah. Okay, these example tests. What was that result? Line 64. Dist, oh shoot. I, y, I, y, I, x. Yep. Okay. Line 70. Why do I have 2 returns? That's a weird bug. What do you mean? Vector, this is a string. String. Okay. Vector string word list. Word list. Word list v. Word list. Okay. Runtime error. Awesome. Yeah, that's why. So we need vector bool visited, I guess? No, we need a depth. D plus 1. Yeah, we need a depth. That will make things work. Okay, that's progress. So now, cout v start by printing this. Make sure we actually get to the DFS. 4, perfect. Okay, so we are in the DFS. Cout v d print everything. Okay. So this should be a mess, but it should also not be that bad. 6, 0, 6, 5. Should be d plus 1. There we go. Okay. Now I have no reason to trust this, but also I don't care. So let's just do it. Time limit should be good. I don't know about wrong answers, but nice. Okay. Slow, but fine. Okay, this one was pretty smooth as well. Just a kind of clunky implementation, but it ended up working cleanly in the end at least. I now realize that I don't have the BFS from every node, just the end node, which is actually a significant speed up that makes the time a lot more reasonable. So ultimately, my program was a bit slow, but I'd say it was smooth enough to be fine. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure why this has such a low accept rate. It seems simple enough, but maybe there were a lot of bugs that I just didn't run into. I didn't really make an effort to test my code, I just kind of tested on the samples and submitted, and it happened to work out for me. So I probably did just get lucky. But yeah, that's all. On to the next question. Alright, I decided to do a bonus medium one for the end. This has a 15.4% accept rate, so it's the hardest Google question that's medium difficulty. Okay, so implement the myA2I, which converts a string to a 32-bit signed integer. Algorithm is as follows. Read in white space, check the next character is minus or plus. Read in the next characters until the next non-digit character at the end of the input. Convert these digits into an integer. If the integer is out of the range, then clamp it. Do not ignore any characters other than the leading white space. Wait, what? So how... What if this isn't a plus or minus? It's like, what if we have A, for example? Or is that just not valid? What is it supposed to be? Expected 0. A5. So that should be 0, I'm guessing? Yeah, okay. 0. So if it's a plus or a minus, negative A, negative 5A. So if it's a plus or a minus, then that means it's that. And then if neither, okay. Okay, so bool white space is equal to false. Okay, so string val is equal to that. Bool neg is equal to false. So for car CS, if C is equal to that. Also, one more thing to test. What about space plus space 5? Oh, yeah, okay, sure. 5 space 7 space. It should be 5, right? 0. Okay, good. No, what? Oh yeah, should be 5. Okay, okay. So if C is equal to that, so wait, let's do this first. So if space else, if sign is equal to false. One more thing. Plus 5 plus. So if space, if C is equal to, if C is not equal to a space, let's see. So space is now true. So if not, yeah, wait, space should be true. Space equal to false. If, so we don't actually need this at all. So this will guarantee to be the first character. C is equal to plus, or C is equal to minus. If C is equal to plus, minus, neg is equal to true. Else, if C is equal to, if C is a digit, then val plus equals C. Otherwise, it is a non-space character. So break. So now, okay, so if val.length is greater than 12, 12 being arbitrary, if neg return int min, else return int max. Also, we should do some testing with like big numbers. And then negative that. And then also just positive that, just to make sure. Else long v is equal to a toll stol val. If v is greater than int max, v is equal to int max. If v is less than int min, v is equal to int min. Return v. Okay, now things should work. Runtime error. Why? Yeah, okay, sure. If neg v is equal to negative v. Why invalid? What exactly is being parsed here? 5 plus. Why? So if space, if 0 is less than or equal to c, oh, this should be and. Not or, because that will include literally everything. So that's dumb. Okay. I think that's all the tests I wanted to try. I mean, yeah. Okay, sure, let's try it. Wrong answer. Zeros. Crap. Okay, good to know that there can be leading zeros. So let's prune those. So int pos equal to 0 while val pos less than val.length and val pos, yeah, I didn't even think about leading zeros. Okay, if while pos less than val.length, val pos equal to 0 plus pos, val is equal to val.subster pos. Good to know. Okay. Now it should maybe work. Okay, nice. Being a medium, this one was more chill than the previous ones, and I only missed the case where they were leading zeros, meaning my lazy if string is too long and means overflow check was wrong, since there could be a bunch of zeros at the start, and that's what that case was that I got wrong. So I took the same disorganized test generation process as question 1, just trying random tests off the top of my head, and I got a failed attempt just like I did in question 1. So it's probably clear that a more organized testing process would save me a failed attempt each time, but I'm also lazy, so whatever. But overall it was relatively chill, similar to question 1 where you really just have to be careful, stick close to exactly what the statement tells you to do, and think about a lot of cases. That's probably why it has such a low accept rate, because people just didn't test their code well enough. And that's all really. Let's get into the conclusion. So there was definitely a common theme for all of these questions, and that's the fact that there were a lot of different types of cases. Not strictly edge cases, but just different types where it'd be hard for a single program to cover every different type on the first try. For these types of questions, you definitely want to be careful. Make sure you're following every rule as you go along, make a ton of different types of small test cases, and just overall take your time. It's much easier to debug carefully written code because it's easier to rule certain parts out since you took your time on them. And as for myself, I would say I did pretty well, at least except for the second question, but that mostly came down to stubbornness anyway. My competitive programming skills did get me through each question since I was able to solve everything and wasn't really stumped by anything, except maybe during the second question where I didn't know how C++ map was working, but that was more of a language issue than the question itself. So competitive programming is enough, even for Google's hardest / most annoying questions. But even so, I say this every time because there are new people to each video who need to hear it. If you're wondering what to do for yourself, just take the common sense approach. Practice what you're trying to get good at. If your sole goal is to get good at coding interviews, practice coding interviews. Don't waste time doing something else that's only like marginally related. And yeah, if this does well, I guess I'll do the hardest questions of some other big tech companies because why not? But that's really all for this video, so goodbye.